Most people think they're using AI. They're not. They're using about 5% of what it can actually do. And that mistake is costing them hours every single week. Because here's what's happening. Millions of people open ChatGPT every day. They ask a question, get an answer, close the tab, and walk away thinking they've experienced AI. They haven't. That's like buying a Ferrari and only using it to listen to the radio. The problem isn't the technology. The problem is that nobody ever taught us how to use it properly. And the gap between people who understand AI and people who don't is becoming one of the biggest advantages in the world. Today, I'm going to show you what most people get wrong and how a few simple changes can completely transform the way you learn, work, and think with AI. The mistake everyone makes. Here's the most common way people use AI. They open ChatGPT. They type something like, write me an email. AI generates something. It's okay, generic, forgettable. It doesn't sound like them, but they copy it anyway. Close the tab and think, yeah, AI is useful, I guess. That's not using AI. That's like hiring a genius and only asking them for the weather. The problem isn't AI. The problem is the question. Garbage in, garbage out. The people getting extraordinary results from AI aren't smarter than you. They aren't secretly more talented. They simply learned how to ask better questions. And better questions create better answers. How to actually talk to AI. Think of AI like a new employee on their first day. Incredibly talented, incredibly capable, but completely unfamiliar with your world. It doesn't know your goals, your audience, your style, your situation. If you give it no context, you'll get generic work. But if you brief it properly, something incredible happens. It becomes one of the most productive assistants you've ever had. So instead of typing, write me an email, try this. I need to write a professional email to a client who missed our deadline. I want to sound firm but not aggressive. Keep it under 100 words. I run a small design agency. Same AI, same tool, completely different result. That one change, adding context, is often the difference between AI feeling useless and AI feeling like a superpower. Because AI isn't magic, it's a mirror. The quality of what comes out is often determined by what you put in. The second mistake. Here's the second thing most people get wrong. They treat AI like a vending machine. Question in, answer out, done. But that's not what AI is. AI is much closer to a thinking partner, and the difference between those two mindsets changes everything. Imagine hiring the smartest person you've ever met, someone who can write, research, explain complex ideas, analyze problems, and generate new ones. You ask them one question, they give you an answer, then you immediately walk away. Sounds ridiculous, right? Yet that's exactly how most people use AI. The people getting extraordinary results do something different. They stay in the conversation. They challenge the answer. They ask, what's missing from this? What would an expert disagree with? What's the biggest flaw in this idea? Give me the version nobody else would think of. How would you improve this if your reputation depended on it? And suddenly the conversation becomes deeper, smarter, more useful. Because AI isn't at its best when it gives you an answer. It's at its best when it helps you think. Most people stop after the first response. The people getting the biggest advantage don't. They keep digging. They keep refining. They keep asking better questions. And that's usually where the best ideas are hiding. The first answer is often obvious. The fifth answer is where things get interesting. Using AI to actually learn faster. Now here's where things get really interesting. Most people use AI to get answers. The smartest people use AI to build understanding. And those are not the same thing. Getting answers gives you information. Understanding gives you leverage. And leverage changes everything. Here's an example. Most people ask, what is compound interest? AI gives them a definition. Done. But a better question looks like this. Explain compound interest like I'm 15 years old. Then give me a real-world example using $1,000. Then show me one mistake people make when they misunderstand it. Now you're not just getting information, you're getting context, examples, perspective, understanding. That's actual learning. Use AI to challenge what you already believe, Ask it to argue against your opinion. Ask it to identify weaknesses in your plans. Ask it to explain something 5 different ways until one finally clicks. Most people use AI to think less. The smartest people use AI to think better, and that's where the real advantage begins. The workflow that changes everything. Most people think AI is about doing things faster. The people getting the biggest results use it differently. They use it to think better, and that's where the real advantage begins. Let's make this practical. Imagine you're starting a project, a business idea, a presentation, a YouTube video, a research paper, anything. Most people start from zero, blank page, blank screen, blank mind, and they waste an hour trying to figure out where to begin. Instead, start with AI. Use this prompt. I'm working on project. My goal is outcome. My audience is who. The biggest challenge I'm facing is problem. Help me create a starting framework. That's it. In less than a minute, you have structure, not a finished product, a starting point. And starting is usually the hardest part. From there, you refine, you improve, you inject your own creativity, your own judgment, your own voice. AI solves the blank page problem. You solve everything else. That's the partnership that actually works. The mindset shift. Here's the thing nobody talks about. AI won't replace people who know how to use it well. It will replace people who refuse to learn how. But here's what that really means. You don't need to become a programmer. You don't need to learn complicated systems. You don't need a computer science degree. You simply need to become better at thinking clearly. Because the real skill isn't prompting, it's clarity, clear thinking, clear goals, clear communication. The people winning with AI right now aren't always the most technical. They're the most clear. They know what they want, and they know how to communicate it. That's the real skill, and it's a skill anyone can learn. So here's where you actually are right now. You have access to one of the most powerful tools ever created, for free. The only question is whether you're going to keep using it like a calculator, or start using it like the unfair advantage it actually is. The people who get the most from AI won't be the people with the newest tools. They'll be the people who learn how to think with them. Because AI isn't a shortcut around thinking. It's a multiplier for it. And the gap between those two groups is growing every single day. The question is simple. Which side are you going to be on? If this changed the way you think about AI, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Mr. Overthinker. Because the biggest changes in the world rarely announce themselves. They happen quietly, until suddenly, they're everywhere.